Cooper, what's in the box? What's in the box? Hey, you're watching Alamo Music TV. My name is Chris McKee.
And I'm Cooper Greenberg.
We're here with Alamo Music Center in San Antonio, Texas. You can find us online at alamomusic.com. If you're new to our channel, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, like our videos. If you'd like to support the channel, visit our Teespring store linked below for our custom designed t-shirts. So this is like the second one we've done this month, but the third one we've done overall, and this is an Amazon guitar review. Because you guys love these. They love these, Cooper. But this is different. We've done a review a long time ago with a blue classical guitar with steel strings on it that was not great. And we'll put a link up there so that you can watch that. That's probably one of our most watched videos. And that was Accidental Comedy. That was the guitar review that went the wrong way, the right way. And we recently did one of an Amazon Basics branded acoustic guitar, which I'm still trying to get my mind around, that there's an Amazon brand guitar out there. And it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great. And this is kind of a return back to things because this is a guitar made by Best Choice Products. And that first guitar we did actually was Best Choice Products. And a lot of people asked about that. We had it covered up at the time because it could be Best Choice. I think it's also called Crescent. I don't know if this pack is by Crescent, but Cooper, I'm going to tell you what I did. I perused Amazon for an affordable guitar pack because, you know, bundles are all the rage.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we have our own bundles we make. Other companies like Fender, they have their electric guitar bundles with Squier and whatnot. And so let's check out the bundles that are on Amazon. And this is about $130. It's like $129.99. And it's in blue, like that first guitar, because I like blue guitars. But I'm a little concerned since this box arrived. We're going to get into it, but it's supposed to be a pack with a gig bag and strings and picks of normal size, I think, and a strap and a tuner and an amp. And it's supposed to be full size. Yeah. So
very cool.
Yeah. So we're going to get into it.
Let's do it.
And we're going to see if the amp actually came with it. You want to get that in?
Yeah, give me a little something, something.
So let's see what we got. Keep that handy because something tells me there's a lot more packaging inside. All right, so far, pretty normal. Hey, you want to get that?
Yeah.
All right. Hey, it did have an amp.
This is the lightest guitar I've ever
It is super light, right? I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it is definitely light. Some more cardboard. All right, we've got our stuff. You know, this is, I got to say, actually, this is well packed.
Yeah.
I was kind of wondering, like, how did they fit the box in here? We did a bundle unpacking of a Squier versus Yamaha pack during the holidays. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
How much stuff there was? Look at that. It's blue burst. It's called Hollywood Blue.
Hollywood Blue.
Hollywood Blue. So here's the gig bag. BCP.
BCP.
And you know what? It's got no padding in it. Actually, I think the zipper's already broken. Or maybe it was just kind of, you know how zippers get where they pull apart? Okay, no, it seems to be working so far. So it is basically a non-padded bag with an accessory pocket where the zipper's also already kind of wonky. But not much there, just a basic bag. That's the heaviest part of the whole thing, is the amp. All right, you take a look at that. I'm gonna take a look at the amp. That's a small amp, man. Okay, I can see why they were able to pack it the way they do. There's no way, like Squier packs that come with the Fender 10 watt, 15 watt amps. It said this is 10 watts. You know how big the Squier 10 watt one, right?
Yeah.
It's a lot, there's a lot more depth to it, at least physically. We'll see if sound-wise there's more depth to it as well. All right.
Is that one of those lunch boxes?
No, it's just like a really, really thin guitar amp. So good thing that sound doesn't have anything to do with cabinet depth.
Is that tube?
It's not a tube amp. The GA10, isn't that a Gibson amp?
I think so.
Actually, I think weren't Gibson amps back in the day GA such and such?
Yeah, and super thin.
You know,
what is this? Gibson
Mark
amp?
Agnesi at Gibson should check see if they're playing authentic with this naming. Just saying. So the GA guitar amplifier. Thank you for purchasing the GA guitar amplifier. We've got input. Hey, there's a drive button.
Nice.
It doesn't look like you can adjust the gain. You got volume, treble, bass, headphone.
Headphones.
Cooper did a video recently about playing electric guitar or guitar period through headphones. So, yeah, check that out if you're a parent and you want to be sane. But yeah, we've got volume, treble, bass, and drive. And it says you plug in your guitar here. And it says this switch is used to turn the overdrive on and off. So you can't adjust the level or anything. Avoid risk of shock. Don't get this damp or play in water. Cool.
Over here, I got us a little cable, got a tremolo bar, which is actually, I guess, vibrato. You know, check that video out. Got a little Allen wrench over here because I guess this bad boy's got a truss rod. I have what they refer to in this book as cloth. So polish this guy up. You know, I'm sure this is a...
Keep that luster of the Hollywood blue going.
I think this is a nitro finish.
Yeah.
No. I got some picks and a strap here. These are normal size picks.
That's disappointing. I really liked the giant. That's a really thin pick, though.
I think this one's poster board.
That first guitar we had, so if you haven't seen that video, there was a giant pick. It was like an eye patch. I still have it at my desk.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
In here, I believe these are picks of 3 different thicknesses.
Okay, well that's
So the
good.
white ones are broken now because I did that.
Really?
But you got, not
Okay,
really, but they're bent.
Okay,
Open that guy up.
that's pretty cheap. That's cheesy if they're already broken.
I don't think they are, but they feel like it. Bend that white one.
Yeah, it actually is permanently bent already. So, but you know what? High school me that used to make picks out of my library card, would have really loved that. Yeah. No, I didn't have one of those machines. I just used scissors and would sand it in.
down.
And it was the card you used to make copies with at the library.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm telling on myself. So yeah, these are all fairly light picks, but I mean, they're picks. So
Tuner.
cool.
But here's the most interesting to me. These are Best Choice Products strings.
At least they're the proper kind of string, right?
I think we have all 6 in here.
Are they individually labeled?
Yes, so we have your 6th, 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 1st.
Well, that's an
Rocking it out.
improvement. That first blue guitar came with steel strings, even though it should have had nylon strings on it, and it gave you extra strings because the first strings were tarnished, and so were the new ones. And they were all in one roll, and they weren't labeled, which I thought was kind of mean to do to a beginner. It's like, here's your strings, figure it out, kid. Because I mean, let's face it, that's what these guitars are geared to, right? The description on this even says it's for beginners.
Yeah.
Obviously. See if this one does like that Amazon. No, this one actually has an on-off button. And you can, oh, hey, okay. So you can go through chromatic, guitar, bass, ukulele, violin, BJ, and F,
Oh, BJF.
and B flat,
I think that's the new DADGAD, is a BJF.
and E flat, and back to chromatic. I don't know how you turn it off.
That's all right.
Maybe the instruction manual will give us more information on exactly what all of that means. I dropped it. Banjo.
Banjo.
That's what I figured it meant. All right. Well, good. Now that we figured that out,
Turn it off. Hold the button down.
hold the button. Okay, cool. And you got an instruction manual with the guitar, which is important for beginners on installing new strings, step by step there. That's cool. More how to use the amp, and how to sound like Joe Satriani. That was nice of him. Just kidding. It's not in there. So before I take delivery of this, what do you think?
I was most surprised that there's binding on it. That's interesting.
Yeah.
But, however, So obviously it's got your Strat style electric guitar, 3 single coil pickups.
You have to say S body style.
S body, yeah. I think. You know, kind of a rock and roll version of the Fender headstock up there.
Actually, kind of reminds me of Ibanez a bit on the headstock, but curving so that it doesn't violate a trademark.
Yeah. And, you know, binding on the headstock, but not on the fingerboard.
All right, I want your opinion.
Yeah.
The headstock has no label on it.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? Do you think that's just because they don't think BCP would look good on a headstock? Or do you think that this is probably under a bunch of different brand names?
I think you're probably hitting something on the latter. I think you could probably find this guitar in a lot of different places around the world. Feel how light that is. That's
really light.
What is this? What do you think that body wood is?
Foam? No, I don't know. It could be. What was that? You remember how light the what's that Fender guitar? The Brad Paisley?
Was that basswood?
No, it was Powell.
Yes, it was
Paulini,
something
Paolani,
like something
like
interesting.
that. And it was super, super light. So it might be something like that. Basswood or basswood if you're into fishing tends to be really light. So it could be that. I'm sure it's some kind of hardwood that's readily available overseas.
Do you think that wood grain on the top is a veneer?
Yes, absolutely. That's definitely a veneer. It's definitely got a very thick finish on it. You know, here's my hope compared to that blue guitar that we did that first review with way, way, way back. There's a lot that can really easily go wrong with an acoustic guitar if it's made poorly. I feel like in some ways there's less that can go wrong with the general construction of this guitar because the neck is literally bolted on.
Yeah.
And so I'm hoping that we're going to tune this up and it's not going to be falling apart on us like that first guitar. I think what's more likely to go wrong is something here in regards to the electric guitar. But check out the neck. Okay. Is that even finished?
Maybe a little tongue oil on there.
I mean, and it kind of just feels like it's sanded. Look, you do woodworking.
Yeah.
It really just feels like it's sanded, which is very interesting to have. And of course, the tuners are what you'd expect at this price point, and the nut is kind of what you'd expect at this price point. And okay, so on that last one we did, the Amazon Basics branded guitar. Mm-hmm. You probably saw, I noticed when we were doing the video, that the frets didn't go all the way to the end of the fretboard, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And let me tell you why they do that. So, and we've actually had this on more expensive guitars. When a guitar is made overseas, you know, it's Southeast Asia, it's extremely humid, you have to dry out woods to stabilize them, right? So if wood is not seasoned correctly, if it's not dried out and shrunk to where it needs to be before the guitar is made, then the guitar is made, the frets are put in, it gets shipped, and then while it's being, you know, in transit, it shrinks, and then the ends of the frets, the tangs, come out of the sides of the fret, and it's sharp. So we've had that happen on, you know, higher end guitars that are made over there when it wasn't seasoned well. So I think that's why they did it. This actually seems like, I don't know, is that actually the fret, or did they cut it short and just fill it with glue?
I could see that being.
They cut it short, didn't they?
Yeah.
Okay, so they did the same thing here. It's kind of, honestly, it's kind of a smart manufacturing technique if you're just kind of getting these out the door. Because, you know, if this is $129 with this stand, by the way, check it out.
Oh, yeah,
it's got the same features that a Fender Twin has. Kickback.
It's indistinguishable.
So, pretty cool. But yeah, for $129, this can't cost a lot to make. So interesting little shortcut they've got there. And yeah, you've got plastic on the pickups, like a Fender Stratocaster would have. And it's a 5-position, 2 tones, 2 volumes. Oh, we do have a tremolo, right?
Yes, we do.
We've got to try it and see how well it stays in tune. Because, you know, honestly, a inexpensive Squier doesn't stay in tune very well. So the fretboard is, I don't think wood.
I think that's pure ebony.
Nah. It's a resin. Actually, you know what's funny? If you look at it, you can see where they just kind of brushed it to give it like a figure. I'm 90% sure.
Let me see that.
Look up by the nut, where it's like gloss finished.
Yep.
It's the same material, and then from here down,
Yep.
it just has like a dry paintbrush, like a Chip and Joanna Gaines treatment to the fretboard.
This is a shiplap fingerboard. No, yeah. That's pretty interesting. That's a good catch. I mean, it's like all parallel lines.
Yeah.
That's not grain.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
So, well,
You want to tune it up?
technique. Yeah, let's tune it up, and I think we need to plug it in to the amp that it came with, and see how it sounds. And yeah, then we'll go based upon that.
Oof.
You mean it didn't come tuned out of the box? All right. Cable. Got a right angle cable. Got an Allen key for adjusting the truss rod. I'm curious what the action's like once it's tuned up. That's one of the big things with a lot of these affordable guitars is once you get them tuned up, the action's usually atrocious. Now, again, on a electric guitar, it's easier to mount the neck on than on a acoustic guitar, but nevertheless. How far off is it?
It's not too bad.
How do those tuners feel, though?
Like Goto 21 to 1s.
How do they really feel, though?
They don't feel great.
Okay. Kind of chunky?
A little chunky, a little stiff.
Yeah.
All right, this thing rocks.
Here's the test of can Cooper make any guitar sound good?
I like that the plastic tip of the whammy bar
It's
just
cream colored?
matches that pickguard really nicely. It's kind of staying there. Almost. Is it?
It could just be stretching. They could just be stretching. Could be perfectly fine.
Rock and roll, dude.
You're going to use the
Gotta
bent
use
pick?
the thin guy, yeah.
All right.
Let's see what we got here.
Let's see if we get sound, first of all. I'm going to set the bass and treble first at 5 o'clock. We're going to check this first, and then we'll actually mic it and see what it sounds like. So there's your clean sound. All right, now let's actually do a real review on this thing, a real demo with this guitar, with this amp mic'd up. All right? Beep, beep. All right, so we've got it set up like we typically would on a demo. We've got our amp here with a microphone right in front of it, so you're going to hear exactly what's coming out of the amp. We're going to listen to the clean sounds and then hit the gain button and listen to it with some dirt, some gristle in it as well. And Cooper just put it through its paces, and let's see how well it stays in tune, how it sounds, and then afterwards you could tell us how it feels. All right? Now play a G chord. It's a little off. It's a little off. All right. Okay. So before my observations, I got to hear from you.
Okay, so
Because first of all, you sound pretty good playing.
it's
Here's a big answer to this question: is it a GSO or is it a guitar? You know what a GSO is?
guitar-shaped object.
Guitar-shaped object. It's not a GSO.
It's not a
It actually
GSO.
is a guitar because you were able to play it.
It is not terrible. My biggest thing.
Be
Whoa.
good. They're a bleed good.
The trem vibrato is just on or off. There's no nuance in
Yeah.
there.
Right. Okay.
Which was interesting. Also, it's very loose at this position.
Yeah.
Then it just stops.
Right.
Right there.
You can't really thread it in.
There's nowhere to go there. The pickups don't sound awful, and it's interesting that they kind of do what
they're supposed to do.
they're supposed to do. There's
Yeah.
your in-between sounds. There's audible difference in their tones. Looking at it from this angle, I'm starting getting distracted. There's some Finnish
Issues.
stuff going on.
A few things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, all in all, it feels like a very inexpensive guitar. The frets are grindy.
They're tiny though.
Yeah.
So one of the things that you can't probably hear this because of the amp, but just sitting next to you behind the amp, every time you bent, you could hear the.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you fretted out. What my favorite part, of course, was when you went to bend the note using the vibrato on the sustain, but there was no sustain. Like note was gone.
Yeah.
No more.
It's done. Yeah. It's not the most. You feel it.
Yeah, these are tiny frets. And I wonder how light the strings are. They're like eighths.
They feel like eighths. It's very, very thin strings. I'm not sure if you put like tens on it, if it would collapse.
Definitely not
I'm sure
polished
you
frets.
can. Yeah.
So what you probably could do if you bought this guitar is you could take it in for setup. You could potentially set up the tremolo and you could set up the action. You could polish the frets. You could do a lot to get this playing better, but I don't know that it's worth it given the money.
Yeah.
A setup would cost half of what the whole pack costs, and probably more than the guitar's worth.
Yeah. And not to, call back to it again, but there is a video that we did unboxing 2 packs that aren't too far off in price from this that were much.
Yeah, and that's kind
Yeah.
of the point, right? There's two Squier packs, Squier made by Fender, that are more than this. One of them is a lot more than this. One of them is just a little bit more than this, and both of those are better guitars. And the other one was the Yamaha Pacifica pack, and that was a lot better than this, and not
Yeah.
much more money. Was that $200?
I think it's right at 200. I
Or
believe.
maybe even a little less. I don't remember for sure, or maybe a little bit more. But it's right. It's not $100 more than this.
Yeah. And those just the build on the guitar themselves felt a lot better. Not to mention the amp.
amp? Not much depth to this one.
Yeah, you could throw that in like a briefcase if you wanted to.
It does sound better than a pig nose. Remember those little pig noses?
No.
No? I actually had a friend who had a guitar kind of like this, but
Yeah.
this is back in the 90s, so the amp was in the case. It sounds better than that. Technology marches along.
There was an AC/DC box set that came out that had records and books in it and everything, and it was shaped like an amp, and it had an amp in the box set.
Yeah.
And it sounded way cooler.
Yeah.
But also I was 10, so everything sounded cool.
I have on my desk right now a Fender, and I think it's like a novelty amp
Yeah.
because it's battery powered, and it sounds better than this. So, just
Yeah.
saying.
I'm not trying to rag too hard on this thing because it.
I mean, $129.
Yeah.
It works.
It works for sure, and it might not be bad if you really need something that. You see what I'm saying about some of the little blips on there.
I like how the binding is so weird.
I think that's Mighty Putty right there.
Do you see how the nut is coming off?
Yeah.
I wonder if it slid. No, it's just not cut right. Yeah. It has issues.
it has issues. I'm eager to see, in the vein of the acoustics, if we will see an Amazon Basics.
Electric guitar pack?
Yes.
Yeah, that's actually kind of what I've been looking for as I found this. I think that, if we take, the takeaway is Best Choice Products is basically making extremely affordable beginner instruments of varying quality that's available through Amazon. They're all made overseas. I will say this is night and day, 100 times better than that blue acoustic guitar that we tried from them. But of course, that was like $50. I mean, what do you expect for $50? It's not an actual instrument. This is barely, I think, enough there. Someone who's starting out could play this.
Yeah.
The strings are extremely light. You're actually not going to kill yourself playing this. But it does have it will go out of tune a lot and other things.
Yeah, the intonation, the tuning is probably one of the most disheartening things to a new player that learns all these chords and then throws them down and it doesn't sound like what you want it to. And it's
first time you bend a note, it's like, oh, sorry,
Yeah.
you're now on an alternate tuning.
Yeah, people probably automatically think, well, it's my fault. I'm not great at guitar, but you could be fretting it perfectly. And if the hardware is not making it easy for you, it's not going to be very encouraging to keep going. But I do think, I don't know who manufactured the Amazon Basics acoustic. I mean, why would they not just slap their name on a pack that we may have already, like a manufacturer that could make like a Squier or something like that. I think that might be good. Or just get the Squier or the Yamaha. They're both great.
And on that bombshell, but I think the takeaway is this. We're going to keep reviewing some of these instruments, and there's some brands out there that I'm excited to try because they are both affordable, and I've heard good things about their quality. But, I think it is up to the consumer to really do their research because there's a lot of inexpensive stuff out there, and cheap stuff is not necessarily bad. There's some really good cheap stuff out there. But sometimes cheap stuff is just cheap. And there's not a huge difference, like we've been saying, between this and a better, more well-known and better produced guitar. And that's not to say those Squiers and Yamahas don't also have their own issues, that isn't fixed with a $500 guitar, but they're more in line with a quality instrument compared to this given the price point. So, that's all we're saying. This actually this kind of surprises me. This is somewhat of a decent instrument that someone could play versus some of the other stuff we've had in the past. But again, the question always comes back to, is it a good value? It's cheap. Is it a good value? I don't think it is because, despite the accessories, whatever, picks are cheap. But if you just went ahead and put another $50, $60 into the budget, you get a much better guitar from a well-known brand like Fender or Yamaha, or Epiphone has bundles, things like that. And at the end of the day, you get warranty, you get better instrument out of the box.
Yeah,
the peace of mind.
What were those Epiphones that we had that were like right around $100-something?
It's the Gibson or the Epiphone Les Paul SL. I think.
Those weren't bad at all.
Those are really cool guitars.
Yeah, those sounded cool. They looked cool, But something like that is a great option. Or looking for a used Squier Bullet or a something like,
Sure.
I don't know. If you want something brand new, yeah, but...
Well, I think most people who buy this are parents.
Yeah.
And hopefully if you're watching this, you found this video because you're shopping for this guitar or others for your son or daughter to play. And so what I'll say as advice is check with local music stores. There's lots of bundles to be had. We even put bundles together that are outside of what the manufacturers make. And so there's lots of options out there, and there's better ones for not much more money. So.
Yeah.
And that's the name of the game. That's how the cookie crumbles, so to speak. So regardless of how often your guitar goes out of tune, if it comes in a bundle or not, or whether you purchased it on Amazon, at the end of the day, the very best guitar in the world is the one that you're playing. And so that's why we make these videos. We want to encourage you to get out and play your instrument and find a really good one. So keep coming back to this channel. If you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications, like our videos, and comment below. Let us know what you think. Have you purchased a guitar, maybe this one or something like it from Amazon, and what was your experience? And some of the other stuff we've mentioned, like the Squier, the Yamaha, they're available on our website, alamomusic.com, but they're also available on Amazon. So let us know your experience below and what you think, right?
Totally.
Awesome. Well, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.